I'm Carlene, and this is Diva Tonight. I have a special guest with me. Her name is Deanna Radulescu. Did I say that right?
You got it, girl. Yep.
Oh my goodness, I got it. I got all the things, remember? All the things.
All the things.
It's trending right now, the word, all the things.
It is.
So Deanna, she is podcast host. So your podcast is...
It's label free to live your best life.
Label free.
Label free.
Yeah, you are a fashion designer, figure competitor, beauty queen. See a little bit of, see some of that right there right now. So
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trying to maintain it for as long as I can.
So we're just talking about the fact that your name has changed. And so what brought on the name change? Do tell.
Marriage.
Oh, marriage.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. Wow. So congrats. Yeah.
I'm terrible with anniversaries, okay? I'm terrible.
I'm terrible with birthdays. I have to write it down, put it in my agenda. So he's the one that remembers the dates and the anniversaries, or?
Yeah. I do have it in my calendar.
Been assumed. Oh my gosh. What if it wasn't a he, right?
No, it's he. And yeah, he does, but I also have it in my calendar. So I'm very reliant on my calendar. I'm sure most people are these days.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a fellow podcaster, how has podcasting been for you in the last few years?
So I've had my podcast now for 6 years. I've exceeded 700 episodes. And when I started it, it was really a passion project because of my past. I've got a lot of trauma. I've got a lot of things that I've had to overcome. And as I've grown it and have really stuck to the message, it has really resonated with people around the world. And I mean, even to this day, it's still getting engagement. It's still very popular. People love it. And I've just loved being in the space, meeting people like yourself, other hosts, the guests. And it's been kind of life-changing in the regards that I feel like at this point, to all the people I've talked to, that I could have a PhD. Because I've talked to some very incredibly intelligent people and I've learned a lot along the way. And, I've turned it into, I turned it into kind of a career. I've had I've had articles written about me. I'm a marquee who's who in America because of the work I've done in the podcast. So it has really led me down to some pretty amazing roads.
Yeah. And so, you are in Chicagoland proper. So tell me, I think if we talk about podcasting, how it's different in the US because of the numbers, obviously. And I use a lot of American platforms. As someone who is in Chicago, what do you think makes a great podcast, especially in the US when there's so many?
I love that question because I think what keeps coming up for me in today's world is authenticity. And I've had a couple guests on the show that I could tell that they weren't showing up authentic and they really got zero engagement. And I was talking to someone, I think it was yesterday, and she's like, yeah, I really love podcasts. And she's like, I never thought I really liked them. And now I'm getting into them. And she's like, I don't even know why. And I said, you know what? Can I tell you why I think that you really like them? Is because the ones that you're listening to, you find that they are authentic and you can take it for face value instead of someone showing up, playing a part, playing a role that's not real, because we are getting bamboozled all day, every day on social media. And we're made to believe that this is the way we're supposed to live, when it's not reality, And so when someone shows up authentic, we are immediately drawn to that because at our soul and our center, we want to connect. And the only way to connect with somebody is if they're being authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true. It's it depends. Because you're a podcaster yourself, I'm sure you have some podcasts that you listen to when you have time. And, for me, I think as I'm doing this again, I started this whole journey in 2020 when everything slowed down, and I relaunched Diva Tonight in December. And I think as a result, the series, This is 40. Yeah, like you said, it's taught me so much. And I've met some very helpful people along the way. And it's been a journey. It's so nice. Yeah, like you said, when you meet people who are authentic and you can tell from their energy, even though me and you we're not in the same room right now. But I think I can just tell with your experience and your professionalism, just how you carry yourself, that says a lot about you and, who you are as a person, right? So
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. with that being said, you obviously have a history, a journey, and like you are a true human trafficking survivor. And I think
Yes.
that's something that we've seen. I've watched a few documentaries and stuff, and obviously it's something that affects people in a very unpleasant way. You know what I mean? It's obviously traumatic. And so as someone who's survived that, for anyone listening, you know what I mean? Because I obviously we're talking about the podcast, but just
Sure.
your story and like your journey to here and now. How has it gotten you to this stage of your life? Like because of your story?
So there are many different levels of human trafficking. So mine was because of an ex-boyfriend. He was older than me. I met him at 17 and just really exposed me to sex work and
Yeah.
some other things that were not exactly great experience, a lot of drugs. And I never thought I'd ever talk about it, right? Like I try to keep it undercover for as long as I could. So when I started this journey, I was like, you know what? I don't want any more skeletons in my closet. I want to be open and honest, and hopefully I can help someone along the way. But I think I'm a very unique individual where my inner strength and my drive and my determination to not end up in the grave or end up somewhere that wasn't that I just knew that I wanted a better path. And so he ended up like beating me up really bad. He abducted me, like took me out into the middle of a field. I thought he was going to kill me, to be honest, and stabbed me in the arm one time. He broke into where I was living, and I actually had to have plastic surgery on my eye because he had like beat me up and like lacerated the my under my eye. And like I remember like how toxic it was for me because when my mom took me to court to like we put him, I pressed charges. I was crying like an idiot because that toxic relationship is so addictive that you don't like when you know that it's not the best thing for you and you don't want to let it go. Like I thinking back now, I'm like, why was I crying? Like losing this guy, like, like so dumb. And here I am, all these years later and, just that experience. I'm happy that I had the wherewithal to know that that I had a better life ahead of me. And I took action to make that happen for myself. Like I started reading self-help books. I got into martial arts. And like the martial arts really helped me just give me discipline, confidence, and just put me on a better path. And I just, and I'm one that's followed my heart. So as I was working on myself, getting better and just going, like trying to recover and just, just get past the trauma of that, amazing things have happened. Different opportunities pop up. I met my late husband who kind of was like a knight in shining armor, so to speak. Yeah, just life evolved from there. I'm not ashamed of it. It's part of my story and my journey. And, I've done a lot of things to spread awareness around it. Like, you have a choice. You don't need to be forced to do something. If something feels wrong, just say so, and I think when we're so young, we're impressionable and we can be manipulated easy. And it's hard. You know that now, like hindsight, I know that now, but when you're in the moment, you don't think that.
Hmm. Yeah. I think being able to talk about it takes like a lot of courage to even do so. Cause I think you have to be at that stage in your life where you've healed from it and that you can
Yes.
share your story. Cause I think trauma for many people, like myself included, I've never actually talked about my trauma in an open platform, but I think the one thing is that that's cliche saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And like toxic relationships. I don't know if growing up you were part of something similar to that or if you didn't have that example, but I find like sometimes it's what you're used to or what you know.
Oh yeah. Father was abusive. My parents had a very toxic relationship. So I was repeating a pattern. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. It's like we have to do all the work to break free out of that. And so I think, like you said, that experience, although it was horrible, has gotten you to a positive place in your life. And obviously it's made you the person you are today. So as someone you've worked in corporate America, like you created your own fashion label. Like you've done a lot of things. And I just want to ask, how do you think you've gotten to those places in your career? You know what I mean? Like it's amazing, right? From like a really bad experience to turning it around and doing something better as a result.
I think just like the determination to want something better for myself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in chasing my dreams, like I'm gonna chase what makes my heart happy, and whether good, bad, or indifferent, I'm gonna decide to do that. And I always loved fashion. I love clothes. I still do love clothes. I'm a self
Yeah.
I'm a self-made
Yeah.
fashionista, and I will always love that side of me. And I wanted to, when my husband was really sick, like that was also a very traumatic experience. Like he was very sick the last couple of years of his life, and we were running several businesses together. I had to be his caretaker. I had to run the businesses. I had to keep our house together. And you're talking like a lot of responsibility because we lived in a mansion. We had the Mercedes, the Ferrari, all the toys. And so it's not like I'm managing a little home and all these businesses. I'm managing a large home, his health, our 5 businesses, and just trying to keep it together. Like I became a shell of a person. And so towards like, I knew he wasn't going to make it. Like I just knew that he was giving up. He needed his 3rd kidney transplant. And the last 2.5 years, it was a steady decline in his health. And I was starting to mourn him. And so during that mourning period, I started becoming very like tapping into my dreams and like, what am I going to do next? Like, watching him lose his battle on life really makes you check in like, hey, like it makes you realize like what, like it humanizes you. Right.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I started looking into how to start a fashion label, and I found a place in Soho, New York, and I ended up I went actually before he passed. I went out there and visited them just to kind of understand their process. And then after he passed, I had to wait for a little while, and then I eventually ended up investing in that. I pursued that for a couple of years. It was pretty successful in a way, but it's a very tough industry to break into, and you have to have very deep pockets. And I just did not have the resources to continue to chase that dream, but I can say that I did it. I learned the value of branding. I learned a lot about fashion design, fashion production, or production in general in regards to, making clothes, and just a pattern making, your fit model, like all the things. And so all the things. And so
Yeah.
like I decided, like I did my last collection again it was in June of 2019. I hosted an event against human trafficking. I had about 300 people, raised about $30,000, and that was my final collection. And I kind of packed everything up, and I was like, okay, it's time to move on.
So when you say like it's hard to break in, I mean like fashion is like, especially in the US, like there's so many iconic names. Like we could go on the line of like Christian
Sure.
Dior, and the list goes on. And so how do you feel, how did you tap into it? First of all, like you said, you have to have deep pockets. So when you don't have
I didn't tap into it because
you
it's
didn't
like
tap into it because of that.
yeah, I mean, it's very cliquish. And so, like, I
Yeah.
was nobody. I'm thinking I'm somebody because, like, I had built this life with my late husband. So I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. I'll be able to do it. Like, I was super cocky. And, like, I'm starting from scratch, brand new business. Nobody knows me. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter how cool my logo is or how nice my clothes are. Nobody knows me as a brand. And, like, that was extremely hard to digest. And if I was to do it again, I would do it a lot more slower, calculated, less pieces, maybe a couple pieces. I would do it completely different than what I did before. It was the way I did it with that consulting firm was a very old school model. Whereas in today's world, you could launch a fashion brand on social media and do very well with it, a couple pieces at a time, and just grow from there.
So as whoever's listening, and if they are in that industry, like in fashion, in terms of like breaking out like their brand, like what do you suggest? What do you say to them? Like, you said you start a little bit slower, but like
Yeah.
as as someone who's a designer, or I mean, obviously you created this label from your own ambitious side of you. So like, where do they start?
Where do they start? Well, I mean, if they're a designer, they've already started. I mean,
Yeah.
the only experience I had was sewing, making my own clothes in high school and altering clothes. I didn't know how to make a pattern. So everything I had to do was sourced out. So it starts with the vision, right? Picking out the fabrics, what you want that fabric to be, that came very easy for me from the creative side. But then having to implement that into having a pattern maker make the pattern for my vision and then just evolve it from there. And so there's a lot of different pieces. So if someone is a designer, they probably already know the amount of effort that goes into making one item.
Yeah. Right. And so I think, like you said, social media changes the game a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't have that years ago.
No.
Diva Tonight. Glamour for your ears. This is 40, a female perspective.
Because of your journey and the fact that I didn't even realize that you had, like, from fashion to creating a brand to now having a podcast, right? So is podcasting something that you primarily focus on, or do you have multiple businesses? Because you clearly have experience doing that, 5 businesses, running them, running a household. It's like managing a household, right? So it's like,
I do very well when I'm busy.
yeah,
Professional multitasker. And
yeah.
great question. My podcast is kind of like a well-oiled machine at this point. I've got it set up very well. I mean, I do make money off of it. I do not offer free guest spots anymore, just because of where I've gotten it to. I have my own proprietary promotional process that I've created that helps, promote my guests, because ultimately what podcasting is a form of marketing. And if anybody tells you no, that's crap. So if anybody has a little bit of a following, you need to show up. You need to, so for me, my brand is very clear, and I want to make sure when I show up, I'm open, talk about my journey, and, I have a lot to offer in terms of things that I've done. So I love that. I used to release 4 episodes a week. Now I'm down to 2.
Wow.
I have one regular segment, and then I have a celebrity segment. So I have PR people reaching out to me all the time for celebrities. But now my new venture is I'm getting ready to launch a luxury lifestyle magazine here in the Chicagoland area. And that's been a lot of work, a lot of work. So that's my new thing, but it goes kind of hand in hand with the media side of things. So I'm able to offer people that advertise with me that want to be in my magazine a spot on my show, which is pretty coveted. I mean, I have some incredible people that want to be on my show, and I'm very blessed that I've gotten to this point. So I'm able to offer that in addition to hey, let's expand into the community by highlighting you in this magazine, which is going into only a certain affluent demographic. So yeah, I never thought I was gonna be a publisher, but here we are.
Here we are, the next chapter of your life. Wow. Unreal.
The next chapter of your life. I like that. Yes. There we go.
I mean, you had many chapters, right? I mean,
Yeah.
We talk about the many layers to who you are as a person, and there are many layers to you. And I think that's all encompassing. I do have a question. Do you have any siblings? The reason
My oldest is 5.
You just answered my question. So there's 5 in my family. And I think when you are the oldest, there's a lot of pressure that comes with being the oldest child. And I think that makes you a little bit stronger in that sense. Do you see yourself as that? Because you're the oldest, you feel like there's that part of you that has to prove something, not to your siblings in any kind of way, but I don't know. I think there's this stigma, not the stigma, but I think there's something to be said about the oldest child in the family.
There's some truth to that. I mean, that's a great question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before, to be honest. I because of my traumatic past, my father being a deadbeat, I was me and my mom, I was a surrogate parent, helping her raise my siblings. I think there was so when I started my own life, I feel like there was a lot of resentment there. I mean, I actually helped my mom buy her house. I bought furniture, took my sisters on shopping sprees. And because of that role that I took early on, I do not have a great relationship with them now. I don't talk to my sisters. I talk to only one of my brothers. And it's because my life has evolved. And, I've had some traumatic things. When my husband passed away, I didn't make the best decisions. I wasn't in a good place because I was spinning. And I mean, I recovered quickly. It wasn't like I was out of control, doing running the streets. I made some bad decisions that they judged me for. And I think that I've always just seen this better life for myself that I cannot. So number one, I want to prove myself. Absolutely. I want to prove that I'm worthy. And I almost think that, they're going to love me. They're going to love me again if I reach this level. So there's a lot of those crazy thoughts, but there's also thoughts of I just want better for myself. I want to leave this life accomplishing as many things as I can and just reaching that I have a vision in my head of where I want my life to be when I'm when I'm done with all of this. And if like, that's a long ways away because I've got way too much energy. I would go bored. I got a girlfriend who's younger than me and she's like, I'm just trying to retire. I'm like, I don't know how you're doing that. Like, I would go crazy. I need to be doing something. And so like that's a multifaceted question because there's
there's many layers to my brain. I'm a very scattered person. I know that. And so, yeah, the reason I asked you that question, and I don't even know why that came up. So my friend, we always talk about like, life and how things happen because she has a child and I don't. And I think I said to her, I think there's a reason why I wasn't so focused on that is because, like, similar to you, I feel like I helped raise my sisters. Even though I wasn't their mom, I was like their big sister, but I did a lot of things. Like I had to, take them to daycare and like find creative ways to like have them have fun in the summertime because we weren't well off. And so I had to be like, okay, let's go to the library and that kind of thing. And the reason I asked you that question is because I feel like in terms of generational trauma or generational lifestyle that like we're passing things on. And I think as someone who's the oldest, like I never really saw myself as a mom. I don't know if that will change, but I think it's that fully loaded question that I asked you there because I feel like because you're so ambitious, because you're so determined to leave your mark on the world, I think that it's in your genetics some way. It may not necessarily be the case, but I feel like that's why I asked you that question because I'm just curious if you are the oldest, the middle, the baby, like, just where you are in the family tree and what has made you so resilient and determined to do whatever it takes, regardless of what happened. Because some people just throw in the towel, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah, getting back to the simple things and like what makes you happy. First of all, because I mean, I don't know if you've talked much about your love life or the fact that, you have this other person who is your person, right? You got married almost 2 years ago. So even that, like, right? So,
married. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get married again.
Yeah.
Met him during COVID and we met and we just have been inseparable since. And it's just been, he's a police officer, which has been very difficult. So unless you're a strong individual, it's going to be very hard for you to be with a police officer because I struggle with it sometimes. Their schedules are all over the place. They work too much. But he's been, he's like the man that I never had. That's a protector. You know what I mean? And I mean that in the best possible way. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. Like, we fell in love. So yeah, I mean, I never I didn't think I was going to get married again. And I did.
Yeah,
and he's just been an amazing individual. I love his family and just, we just been building a life together ever since.
Yeah. And that's good. No, that's amazing. That's so good. It's hopeful for sure because you are the lady with many hats.
Yeah.
And
understatement.
Understatement, right?
Yeah.
Understatement of the year, I guess. But I do want to ask you to be an entrepreneur, to be a great entrepreneur, what do you think is important to getting to where you are now? Like, I mean, you are a business person, of course.
Right. So, I mean, I would consider myself a serial entrepreneur at this point. And obviously not every venture has worked out. Like the fashion industry, I was like telling myself, I'm going to be the next Chanel. Like I wasn't making cheap pieces. And like that was a huge learning lesson. I felt like when I decided to stop, I felt like a huge failure. And when I think about it now, I think about how brave I was to chase a dream and actually take that risk. And so to be an entrepreneur is not easy. I think it's okay to take those risks because we learn something along the way and we have great stories to tell afterwards. But you have to be open to continuing to learn, to be resourceful. Like I just hired a sales coach for the magazine because I haven't been closing deals like I thought I would at this point. And I made this investment. I essentially bought into a franchise. So it's not a brand new magazine. There's a lot of structure behind it. They do the distribution, the printing, but I have to get it off the ground. If I don't get it off the ground within a certain amount of time, I lose my investment. And so like, it's been very stressful, like why I'm not closing these deals. Like I have to have so many to launch and then it grows from there, right? The hardest part is getting it launched. And so like I'm coachable. I don't know everything. there's something perhaps like that's, happening in my life that is preventing me from closing some of these deals. And so, I bit the bullet and I hired a coach, and, now we're off to the races, and I'm hoping that helps move things forward, and I can get this launched the way that I want it to.
That's very interesting. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think I had a guest, what's her name? Debbie Kinney. She said, like, she's a coach, and she said, the best athletes have a coach, like Michael Phelps had a coach, and so many athletes before them, and people who've made their stance in society. They've had the vision to get there, but obviously they needed coaching along the way. And so I guess with you, like, getting a coach, how long have you had a coach? And is this just something?
Oh, I just hired him. I just hired him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I've worked with him. He's given me a couple free sessions before, and he was a guest on my show, and I really liked his style. And so, like, I resonated with him. And so he offered this program recently, and it just came at the right time. So it just, like, for me, it was just meant to be. So I bit the bullet.
Yeah. Timing is everything. You're so right about that. I think, when you write certain things down, I have to tell you. So when I thought about the show, I didn't think about the series, but my friends suggested that I create the series on turning 40, because I was turning 40 when we talked about it, and I wrote it down. And let me tell you, it was interesting to look back at my notes and be like, oh my gosh. So the first two people on the show, I wrote down their names, and it did happen. So it's important, like, when you have a passion and something that you're supposed to do.
Manifestation, baby.
Yes, yeah, totally. I mean, I'm learning more about manifestation as I'm, like you said, reading the books and doing the things, right? And so even just talking to you, I see the energy in you, and, like, I'm feeling it actually in a way where it seems like this is something that you're supposed to be doing, and you're on your way, right? And so you're definitely coaching. You know what I mean? It's like the energy. Someone said that to me. It's all about the energy, and, like,
energy is
how people make you feel. Yeah. And I'm learning more and more, like, when my day is off and when it's not. But there's one thing I do want to ask. So how did this magazine, like, the whole idea, how did that come about? Was it like being at the right place, the right time?
Sure.
Yeah.
So because of my podcast, because of, like, my name that's out there, I mean, I've had a lot of different articles, magazine features. I get emails for all different kinds of things. And so I typically take every single call, because you never know what's going to happen in that call, if they know someone you can introduce you to, or like I do, I'll take every call. I'll jump into every meeting, like, only because you never know where it's going to go. And so I got an email on expanding my reach. Like, oh, hey, we see that you're a podcast. We'd love to talk to you a little bit more about expanding your reach and, and starting a magazine. And so I did my due diligence. I had several calls with them. I talked to other publishers in the country. And it took me about a month before I decided that I was going to do it. So I made the investment. I went to training in Kansas City, and now here I am, like, boots on the ground, meeting with people, like, every single day, talking about the magazine to get it launched.
Wow.
It was not on my punch card or my bucket list. Was not.
I laugh because I totally got it. Was just like, this is not where I thought it would end up, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy how, like, things transpire just when you least expect it. So what you just said right now just made me think someone did email me, and I think I'll probably give them the time of day just to see where.
Or they email you for what?
Actually, they emailed me. They're in the insurance business, and she's like, oh, I see your podcast, and I actually should send you I think I'm going to send you the information, and then I'll let you tell me what you think, because obviously
Is she wanting to be a guest on your show, or is she looking to, like, to collaborate?
No, she's looking to collaborate. And
good.
So, yeah. She said they have their own, like, her and her husband have a business, and it's an insurance business. And I guess it's another opportunity for me to make money, I guess, in that way. But I haven't talked to them on Zoom yet or anything. But so they connected with me through Instagram. So, like you said, I'm always
take the call, see where it goes.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you have to like that person, right? So you have to, like, jump on a call, get to know them, understand a little bit more about what they are, like, how like how you guys can collaborate in whatever way that looks like, or their idea, and then go from there. You know, then it doesn't work for you per se. Maybe you can introduce them to somebody else, or they can introduce somebody to you. Like, you never know, like that whole like domino effect that can happen after one conversation. Because for me, I've had incredible opportunities that have led to beautiful places just by taking a phone call.
And I think it's like, we're all in our heads. I always think, is that a good idea? But yeah,
pull the trigger. Pull the trigger, baby. You only live once. Let me tell you something. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No, you're right. You're right. I think there was a reason you are here right now talking to me on this episode of Diva Tonight. So as the multifaceted, multi-layered individual, Miss Deanna
Radulescu.
Yes. I'm reading off the thing. I know it's
okay. No worries.
It's hard to say off the tongue. Radulescu. Okay. Final thoughts. We didn't even talk about 40. We talked about everything else. So
I'm almost 50, girl. So.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So as someone who's lived the decade, you said you're almost 50. So what advice do you have for the 40 something or the women going into 50? You know what I mean? Like, you clearly have.
What advice do I have? So like, I've really embraced every part of my journey, right? You know, like I'm not scared to say my age. Like, I'm very proud of how old I am. You know, I would just say that like time keeps going by faster and faster and faster. So do not, like, with this email, whether it might be nothing, right? This call, don't pass up an opportunity, because before we know it, you're going to be 50, then 60, 70. And then we're going to be laying on a bed our last chapter is coming to an end. And we want to look back and have stories to tell and memories to look back on, and know that we took different risks that scared us a little bit and excited us and made us grow a little bit more. Right. And so what's the worst that can happen? A phone call, a meeting is not going to kill you. May it be aggravating and someone might waste a little bit of your time, but you can't go into it thinking like that. You have to think, well, what could possibly happen from this call or this meeting, and see where it goes. So, that's always my advice. Take every call, take every meeting. You never know where it's going to end up.
That's some good advice. I like it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share your journey to here and now. And I wish you all the best with your launch. Like, when is it happening? Do you have
October? I'm halfway there.
You're halfway there. So we might have to bring you back when the big launch
Sure, I'd love to.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. I'm Carlene, and this is Diva Tonight with Deanna Radulescu. Did I say that right? I think so.
Yes.
I don't know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Diva Tonight with Carlene will be back. Send us a message on Instagram at diva_tonight.